Hello. Okay, Smile 2, the sequel to Smile, both written and directed by a Parker Finn. I only watched the first movie last week for the first time and I really enjoyed it, and so found myself really looking forward to seeing how Parker Finn continued this story with Smile 2. So the synopsis reads: about to embark on a world tour, global pop sensation Skye Riley begins experiencing increasingly terrifying and inexplicable events. Overwhelmed by the escalating horrors and the pressure of fame, Skye is forced to face her past. So I have to start with Naomi Scott as Skye Riley, this famous pop star. A completely different character, or a different type of character compared to who we got in the first movie. And I absolutely loved what Naomi Scott did with this character. She gives a very sort of raw, an emotionally raw performance that just felt very real. You could feel the pain and the trauma that this character has gone through or is going through, and the horror that this character is going through, and just the way in which she conveys this through the performance, it just felt very real. Like, there are certain moments with her character where the only way I can describe it is emotionally raw, just through the way she would convey and sort of how she would express these emotions during certain moments of horror, and just sort of sheer frustration and pain and torment. And yeah, it's just, Naomi Scott, for me personally, is the weight. She is the anchor of this experience, of this story, and I would put her up there this year as being one of the best performances in horror, alongside Demi Moore with The Substance. For me personally, Naomi Scott was a great year, and she was just great at delivering the horror, and it's through her performance that allowed me to buy into the horror, that kind of helped make this experience in moments creepy, along with other aspects. And, you know, this could have easily have fallen into a very kind of generic, seen it all before, cliched horror movie, and it's as a result of not just the performance of Naomi Scott, because I feel like the way this film is crafted and directed and written does play a big part in this, but I do think Naomi Scott's performance is pivotal to sort of stopping this movie from falling into generic, cliched horror territory. The other aspect that I adored about Smile 2 is the use of practical effects when it comes to the death scenes. They're very gory, they're very bloody. I do have a minor gripe though with a lot of these moments, but I just couldn't help but admire sort of the effort that went into creating as much practical as possible, especially during the third act. Now, this is a spoiler-free review, so I'm not going to give anything away, but there's a moment during the third act where, I'm not 100%, but it looked like stop-motion animation, and I just was grinning year to year. Like, I thought it was fucking great. I loved it. But sort of the minor gripe that I have is these practical effects that we do get are sort of enhanced by CGI blood splatter, and it was so obvious that it was CGI in moments that I'm like, why are you doing that? You are ruining the effect. Like, you're already creating an effective experience here, and by just sort of throwing that kind of CGI sort of enhancement on top of these practical effects, for me, was sort of taking away a little bit from the effectiveness, though at the same time there are moments in this movie that I had to turn my head, and that's saying a lot when it comes to someone like me, you know, because I've been so desensitized to violence and gore in horror movies over the years, that for a film to still do that to me, where I've got to sort of turn away from the screen, it's a massive achievement. And there are moments where they achieve this, and a lot of it is just due to how a lot of these moments of horror are created, how they're shot, how they're framed, and how they are brought to life through practical effects. And yeah, I found Smile 2 to be genuinely a creepy and unnerving experience, and also a tragic experience as well. A lot of that is just down to sort of our main character and sort of her circumstances and situation, and how Naomi Scott brings that character to life. But it's also how a lot of these moments of horror are constructed, how they are crafted throughout the movie. I absolutely adored the use of the camera throughout this experience, and how like it would just focus on our main character, Skye Riley, and there'll be certain moments when it comes to the horror that it would be just stationary, and it would be sort of just fixed in a certain corner of the set piece, or it might be situated in front of our main character, and it all helped add and elevate the tension and suspense in those moments, as well as sort of there'd be moments where the camera would sort of be, like I said, fixated on our main character but moving along with her, and it was just done in a way that kind of really helped immerse me into the moment. But there's also this sort of retroness to how the movie looked through the cinematography, and I absolutely adored this. It's something a lot of horror movies seem to be doing lately, and I just think it adds a grittiness to the experience that horror really needs and has been missing in quite a few years. But it's also how these moments are constructed and crafted that stops this movie again from falling into generic, sort of we've seen it all before, cliched horror territory. There's a moment, like there's a lot of moments I had a hell of a lot of fun with. Like I said, this is a much wilder experience than that first movie, and there's a moment that's in the trailers with this sort of corridor of mirrors, and it was fucking great. I had a really good time with it. But all of that kind of creepiness, the unnervingness and the tragicness is all helped and aided by that very grounded and real and raw performance by Naomi Scott. She helps elevate these moments that I already feel like are crafted in a way that is effective, but she is the anchor, she is the weight in these moments that kind of just sort of catapult it in many ways, and is what kind of really helped me remain immersed and actually caring for this character's story and her journey. Like, I can understand why for a lot of people, and in many ways, I mean, it makes sense. Like, this is a character that a lot of us can't really relate to due to her status, due to who she is. She's this famous pop star. And so in many ways, really, we should dislike the character to a degree. But it's just down to how Naomi Scott breathes life into the character, where, yes, even though I can't really relate to her, I still found myself emotionally engaged. I'm still emotionally caring for this character that I can't relate to, but due to how she's breathing life into the character, I can't help but care and feel sorry for the character and just sort of really get sort of emotionally wrapped up with what's going on. And it kind of, in many ways, the clever thing of what this film does is, yes, you could just look at this character and think, oh, she's a spoilt, pop star, famous pop star who's got it all and then, whatever. But what the film does in many ways is kind of really sort of strip those layers back and sort of reveal that actually this is a very real human being as well. Like, yeah, she might be this famous pop star that's very flawed and she's got her demons, but she is still very human, and so as a result, you actually are relating to this character, even though she's got this, she is portrayed as this famous pop star. And I just thought that in that aspect the movie was quite clever, but I can understand why a lot of people might just not be as sort of connected or more disconnected really to the character and not being able to relate to her and not really caring because of the fact that this is a very different character to what we got in the first one, and for many might not be as relatable. Or I could just be talking complete nonsense there, but I can't. For me personally, that's how I was looking at this. And there's a lot of very effective jump scares dotted throughout this movie as well, and they are jump scares that work. They don't feel like just some sort of cheap gimmick that, again, just going back to that kind of very generic, cliched horror experience. The jump scares are sort of worked very smartly into those moments of horror, and they play a part that kind of just doesn't end up feeling like some sort of random cheap gimmick just to make the crowd jump. It feels like it felt part of the experience, and as a result was a hell of a lot more effective. And to just touch on another issue I had with the movie, and this is another minor issue, because I just found myself really having a good time with this film. I really enjoyed it. But that minor issue being, it doesn't really go deep enough with the themes in which it's exploring. For example, trauma and anxiety. It's there, but I feel like it's only skimmed upon, which is fine because it's still effective as a mechanism for the horror, and it allows me to become emotionally invested to a degree with the main characters. But I can't help but feel it could have just dived a little deeper into that darkness to give us something truly unnerving and emotionally exhausting. It still works, it's still effective, and it is, to a degree, a creepy experience. And for me personally, I still regard Smile 2 as being one of the stronger horror movies to have been released this year. I just feel like it could have dived perhaps a little bit deeper into that darkness, and it's a gripe that I also had with the first movie, but I just couldn't help but have a hell of a lot of fun with this movie. And Smile 2 is essentially the same story as Smile 1, but it's told through a different perspective, in a different setting, different environment. You got a very different character, and I felt like it's as a result of that direction, as well as the fact that Parker Finn is having a hell of a lot of fun. Like, you could sense the fun that he's having through the writing and just through how this movie is constructed. Like, it is a hell of a lot wilder than the first movie. But it also sort of gives a reason to why this film should exist, considering it is essentially the same story. But in many ways, as a result of this, it kind of reminded me an awful lot of what Aliens was to Alien. I'm not saying it's identical, but it's kind of got a similar approach, and that's how I personally felt that, Smile 2 is the Aliens to Smile. And I could be the only one that feels like this or felt like that, but I do feel like it's that kind of, but that's just how it came across to me, and it works. I mean, yes, I've got my minor gripes in terms of how it sort of skims across those darker, deeper themes, but I never once felt like, oh, I've seen this all before, here we go again, same story. It didn't feel like that. It felt like there was a jolt of energy to what was a similar story from the first movie. It felt re-energized, and it at the same time felt like a whole new experience, even though when you kind of really take a step back, it is a very similar story. But again, you've got different characters, different circumstances, different situations, and I feel like that is what makes this whole experience, or gives this whole experience a reason to exist, for me anyway, personally. And what I mean by Parker Finn having a hell of a lot more fun here, I mean through the writing and just through how this story is told, he's having fun at playing with us, the viewer, and you could sort of really sense that through sort of how we are brought on this experience with the character, with our main character, Skye Riley, and sort of, her character trying to determine what is real and what isn't, and just how that plays a pivotal part in this entire experience, and sort of just really got me sucked in to the horror that is occurring. And I was constantly sort of wondering and sort of looking and sort of dissecting certain moments of sort of thinking, well, is that real? Is this real? Is this happening? So yeah, that's enough rambling on from me. Some might want more, for some it might not just work, but for me this was a blast. I had a real good time with this experience, even though, yeah, I felt like it could have gotten a little deeper into those darker themes. It was an exciting, creepy thrill ride, and it still managed to get me emotionally wrapped up within its story, which, yeah, getting emotionally wrapped up, that's the real punch to the gut in both of these movies, and that's all I'm going to say about that, because this is a spoiler-free review. You might get what I'm referring to, you might not, but yeah, that again, it's another sort of very sort of small, minor, clever aspect really of these experiences, and I think it, for me, in many ways kind of makes up for that kind of minor gripe that I do have when it comes to what these horror movies are exploring with those very sort of human, darker themes. Very human. Like, it's like I said, I don't want to take away from what is there, because it is there, and it is still a tragic experience, but as I said, could have dived just a little bit deeper. So yeah, I promise I'm going to stop rambling on now. I do highly recommend this film. It has kind of swayed on where I'm going to sort of rate it. I had so much fun, and I enjoyed it so much. I wouldn't say it's not the scariest movie this year, but it's definitely effective at instilling that creepiness and sort of really getting that kind of horror across of what it is the character, our main character, is experiencing in regards to the anxiety and trauma that she's going through or has gone through. So yeah, there are my thoughts on Smile 2, and I will be giving Smile 2 an 8 out of 10. So yeah, there are my thoughts on Smile 2, but what did you guys think? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you prefer it over the original, or do you prefer the original? Share your opinions and thoughts below, and let's get a discussion going. And if you've made it this far into the video, then thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And if you want to watch future movie reviews from just some random Welsh geek rambling on, then please hit the subscribe button. It will mean an awful lot to me. My next movie review for a major cinema release will be for Venom: The Last Dance, which releases next weekend. And I'm also going to grab Terrifier 3 as well, because for a Halloween special for the channel, I'm going to review all 3 Terrifier movies. I've already wrote my notes up for the first Terrifier. I need to also catch Terrifier 2 because I've never seen it before, and then the third in the cinema, and they will be my Halloween specials for this year. And just another big thank you to all of those that have connected to the channel, whether it be liking, disliking, commenting and subscribing. It means an awful lot. I'm hoping to hit 500 by the end of the year. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to do it, but I've just gotten over the 400 mark, and it will always overwhelm me that so many of you do actually want to follow just some random Welsh geek ramble on about film and TV. It does mean an awful lot. So yeah, that's it from me. Thanks again for watching. I really do appreciate it. I'll be catching you guys soon.